So last week, if you guys will remember, let's get that chart up. So this is was the trade for last week, the level, and we were talking about either dependent. It was all about where this candle was going to close, right? Was it going to close below this line, headed into the red, and then bounce up here and then fall, or was it going to close above, hit this red level, and then move up? Well, that's what happened, guy. It closed above, so at some point we moved up. Actually, we moved up all the way up to this level over here. We pulled back down all the way to this level, like we said.
Those are the VWAP levels?
These are the VWAP levels. Yeah. So here, this is the future ones are the weekly, and the blue ones are the daily. And so here we actually moved up to we bounced off of VWAP, and we had all the way up to the highest. Actually, it bounced up to over here, which is just a level that was being called to. There's nothing actually special about it. There's actually, well, the only special thing here is this trend. So I didn't really want to belabor this point because I haven't created an indicator yet that can actually draw this. But essentially, when you have no levels around and you have this level at the top, this main one that we've been calling about for the last 2 weeks, that's calling the price up, and then you have the other one at level 74 here calling the price down. What you get is that the nearest level is the one that usually pulls it further, like it pulls it closer, and then you also get pulled towards trend levels. So trend levels work like magnets as well, and so because we had nothing really in this area, it moved up to the top. It went to revisit one of the daily VWAP levels from before, but then it came back down and hit our VWAP level at the bottom over here. And what happened? Well, we talked about it. The bounce is what we would expect. And where did it bounce up to? It bounced up to that main level that we were talking about.
So how close was this to your prediction?
It's exactly the prediction. The prediction last week was either we're going to fall below, close below before this red bar. Before this weekly change. So we didn't fall. If we fell below, we would go up and down. That's not what happened. We closed above, and so we went down and then up. The thing is, this down to this level can happen from any point. It doesn't. I'm not making a prediction as to how far it goes up before it goes down to this level, right? Remember, my stuff are trend signals. This is where the price is being attracted to. You have to manage how you want to get into that trade, right? So I did not tell anybody, hey, as soon as this candle changes, go ahead and go short. I mean, that's what I normally do. I go short over here, see if I can get down here. I didn't. So I actually my position was actually still on, but I shorted it again from over here, and then I made my gains when I went down over here, and so that made a gain of around 2.5%. So basically 100% profit on the position for that trade. I did get mistaken over here. I actually have to set a new rule here, Peter, because you see how over here the price went. Let's go actually to a lower time frame so you can see. So that's that same chart, but now we're looking at the 15-minute. So the day closed, it came down to this level over here. All right. So we're on the 15-minute for that same chart I was talking about. This is the previous week. And so here, yeah, you can see the price came down to this level, and it came down underneath it, came back up, and then came back down, right? So over here, I was actually trying to short from underneath here because I was like, oh, well, we got underneath this level, and now we're retracing from underneath. I should short. The problem with that is that sometimes that works, but it's really jumping the gun. Because if we take a look at the 2-hour chart, the daily chart, we'll see that that level, which is over here, we didn't actually close. The candle for the day didn't actually close beneath that level, right? So if you don't actually get a close on the daily, it's not actually confirmed. You can always get this wick back up, which is what happened. So I jumped the gun there. So I think I'm going to change adjust my my own strategy so that before I would wait to, even if there was a close underneath on the 2-hour, that might be enough. I don't like changing that because when this loses, all I did was lose a half a position, which I didn't care about. Whereas if I waited, sometimes the drop happens and you've missed out on hundreds of percent of gain. So I don't actually mind that. But for people who want to be safer or whatever, you take larger positions or whatever it is, you really should wait for the close of the candle beneath that level. In the same way that, like over here, if we take a look, if we take a look at over here, this is one of the previous levels. So we have this. This is the VWAP, and it bounces up underneath, and then here it closes underneath that level. It closes, so that we know that we're headed down this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I didn't do that, but let's go back to the. Oh yeah. So this was the annoying part for this week. So the price moved up from this level towards this level as it's supposed to. Right. Once you get the bounce, we're headed to the next available level, which is even like these two. This is the daily one, and this is the weekly one. You'll notice though that the price never actually tagged that level. It just pulled a nice little trick where it didn't pull, so I couldn't actually get into my short over here.
Is this what you were talking about? You were 20 BPS or whatever away?
$200 away, yeah, from there for it to tag it. And so we have this problem. We have this problem where the price then fell, and it's almost okay. So here's the thing, Peter. Right. So here you see how this came up over here right on the same day. You see how this is the blue bar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the daily close. So what happens when you get the daily close? Well, the VWAP level for that day now shows up. So as soon as it shows up, the price goes, whoa, I got to go back. I got to go to there.
You personify these prices moves.
Well, look what happened. It literally stopped in its tracks. We see the wick. The wick is showing that the price went all the way up over there and then completely reversed. And it's not a coincidence that it happened literally on the closing candle for that date. Like, it's not a coincidence. It stopped in its tracks and immediately reverted down and went straight. I mean, basically almost straight here. It bounced a little bit up, all the way down to that daily level. And then it started bouncing around this area. I was like, what is going on? So it bounced around here because of this trend line here. Remember saying trend lines are just as important as VWAP levels?
Yeah.
It's just that I can't draw them automatically for people. I'm learning how to do that. I actually have a couple of automatic trend line scripts, but I don't want to use them for this right now. They're not as optimized as I'd like them to be. And so this level over here, so you see how the price bounces around this level. It's bounced up here, came back down here, bounced on the next level,
Mm-hmm.
bounced again, bounce, up over here, bounced again. Like, it's staying in this V area. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
And so stayed in that V area. And so what it did is that because it did that for 2 days, it created another daily level at the top over here from this day. And then it created another daily level over here because of the bouncing around. Well, then the price gets this weird, confusing ping pong thing that it has to bounce around these levels. And so here I knew that this level was going to be like the day opened up, we were basically at it. We inched over and I knew we were going to come down over here, but I couldn't take the trade because there's barely any movement over here. I think this was 50 basis points, so there's no trade to take. It came under this level, and even closed there, came back up. So I was like, okay, let's short some more. But then it exploded up because it wanted to get back up to this other level. because it hasn't actually been cleared, I'm wondering if it's still calling the price up.
OCD, isn't that what you said?
Exactly. And what bothers me is that this weekly level is right nearby a daily level. So this is really it's calling the price upwards. But if we take a look at our liquidity tracker, and I have it offset by 78 days down here, I'm still expecting a drop to a low around basically by the end of the month. By the end of this month, I think we should get to the lows of this whole area over here.
What, that's 74?
Which to me would be 74, but the longer we linger here, remember, corrections can happen in price or in time, or both. So the longer it stays sideways, the more that counts as eating up the selling pressure, and then it can actually make the low, and then we head higher. But
Meaning it won't go down to 74, it'll stay around 85, 84.
it can go down to almost don't see how it doesn't get down to 74 because
You said that last week. Yeah.
yeah, if I'm right in the level. So for example, let's take a look at here and over here, over here and over here. So this is a low and then a low. Actually, let's change this to white so you can see it. Low and then a lower low, right? So over here, that corresponds to up over here. We have um, this area where we get this low. So this is the low here. The candle went all the way as low as over here. Do you see the wick there? The candle wick down.
Yes.
And then we have this other area over here, which is a new low. And this says we should go down. And so even though we passed it, we actually did end up lower versus this guy at some point, even though it was later on. And this says there's a lot of volume upwards of liquidity. And then we got a massive volume upwards of liquidity. Like we had this upward pressure all the way through this, and then upward pressure again because this needed to be resolved. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but you have to think of these as a balance of bullish and bearish forces. And this moved up on the Trump tweet, the news, and so it exploded back upwards. But even though it exploded upwards, it exploded up to the daily VWAP level. It didn't even go to the weekly VWAP level at the top, just to the daily VWAP level, which means that the tweet of "Hey, we're going to open up a strategic reserve" could only generate enough bullishness just to get to the closest daily VWAP level. And so this whole thing was like honored because it was this downward pressure. Then we end up in a situation where we bounce around here, and that's what happened. We bounced around here. We bounced up, and we had two levels up, a little bit here and a little bit over here, and that's a little bit over here and a little bit over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, and then this bump over here should be like this last bump that we're seeing over here, and then down to 74.
Right.
Over this week. This would be the week of it'd be 74 by basically by the March 31st. So then I compare that with the window of weakness that we're in, right? This is OPEX, which actually I should show you this.
Didn't that expire the 20th?
No, the window of the window of weakness is from usually February 20th to March 20th. That's a window, but that window of weakness, what happens is that what's being created is the weakness. And so all the way up to the end of the month is when the options start being put back on for the next quarter. That whole area is fragile.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're going to drop it, it's fragile. And so it could be that even this week, this is the last week for it, right? Yeah, basically up until the 31st of March, there's still a possibility that a catalyst drives us lower. And I'm sort of expecting that. I'm expecting that we don't. The only question I have is because we didn't touch this level, this weekly level over here, do we have to go up there first and then down? And if that happens, then I find it difficult to believe that we go from 87 to 74.
That would be just a tsunami.
I mean, that would be unbelievable. That would be this level of what is it? Let's count it. So that would be from over here to over here would be
Devastation.
15%.
Ugh.
And that would be equivalent to what we saw over here. So this drop was 15%. We'd have to have that drop again. So basically like this, you see how we have it over here where it went up and then down.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to have that up and then down. But as I take a look at let me pull this in. Let me hide us so we can see it. At the bottom right, the new modifications I added for the multiple trend levels. We have here that we're currently bullish on the daily, and that tomorrow, if we close where we are right now, so basically tomorrow is 8 o'clock tonight, we'll be bullish as well. We're 83% of the way there. The weekly is going from neutral to bullish as well. So both of these guys will be green, and the monthly will be bearish, and the 3-month would be bullish, which makes sense. So with these two guys down here as bullish, it makes me think that we do actually get this run up over here, maybe even to over here, and then fall down. But this sort of V happens all the time, Peter. Like
Mhm.
it could actually occur, just like we saw over here. Let me refresh. I've talked about this before, but this bounce earlier on the last time we had this big run up. Where are you? This was on. Yeah, this was over here. You see where we have this big drop down. So it goes up to the trend, drop down, and then up.
Mhm.
Like these up, then down, then up things happen all the time. And so it could happen here. It could do this and then down and then up. Which sucks.
Why?
Which really sucks. Because it's liquidation, 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 then drop liquidations all the way down over here, and then run up, liquidate all the shorts all the way back up. Um,
Look,
which
this pain is the market's love language. So
That's right.
I don't know why you think this is. It makes it sound more likely than anything.
It is because the markets don't like that. The OCD market does not like missing this level. I always thought, oh, maybe it's like I'm wrong, and it's like an approximation, and it's nearby. It really isn't, though. It really needs to get scratched exactly that itch. And just as I feel terrible right now looking at this, going, "Oh, it didn't hit," the market also feels that too.